This is Wallet Brief, where we cut through the noise and focus on what matters to your money. Stock market today, searches remain elevated as investors head into the weekend processing Friday's whipsaw session. The S&P 500 advanced 0.69 and closed at 6,909.51, while the Nasdaq Composite gained 0.9 and settled at 22,886.07, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average added 230.81 points, or 0.47, to end at 49,625.97. Markets are closed Saturday and Sunday, but the drama from Friday's Supreme Court tariff decision and President Trump's immediate response will dominate conversations all weekend. The S&P 500 now sits just 90 points below the psychologically significant 7,000 level, but getting there depends on what happens next week. Friday delivered one of the most volatile sessions of 2026. The Supreme Court ruled that the government had exceeded its authority in using federal emergency powers to impose tariffs, striking down the administration's trade policies 6-3. Tariff beneficiaries rallied, with e-commerce names like Wayfair up 1.56, Amazon up 2.59, eBay up 3.89, and Etsy surging 8.58. Alphabet jumped more than 4 on relief that import costs won't spike. But President Trump said he'll impose a 10 global levy on trading partners and claimed that various categories of his existing program remain in place. Meanwhile, U.S. GDP missed estimates, printing 1.4, below the 2.5 estimate, thanks in part to the government shutdown. The market chose to focus on tariff relief over economic weakness, but both issues remain unresolved heading into next week. Here's what's actually happening. Friday's rally was built on hope, not resolution. The Supreme Court ruling removes the immediate threat of broad emergency tariffs, but Trump's vow to impose new 10 global tariffs means the trade war is simply shifting legal strategies, not ending. For the full year 2025, U.S. GDP grew at a pace of 2.2, down from 2.4 year-over-year, showing the economy is slowing. Core inflation remains sticky around 3, keeping the Fed cautious. Next week brings the earnings report that could define February. Nvidia is set to report earnings on February 25th, with Wall Street analysts expecting fiscal year 2026 growth to come in at 57 year-over-year and fiscal 2027 growth projected at 65. CEO Jensen Huang has said demand for the Blackwell platform is off the charts, but after weeks of AI spending skepticism and software stock crashes, Nvidia needs to deliver a massive beat to restore confidence. The tariff ruling directly impacts consumer prices. If $175 billion in tariffs doesn't get reimposed, that means lower costs on imports, electronics, clothing, home goods. Companies like Amazon and Walmart won't have to pass those costs to you. But Trump's new 10 global tariff proposal could erase those savings if implemented through other legal authorities. For investors, Friday's rally felt good, but it's fragile. Tech stocks bounced on tariff relief, but the GDP miss at 1.4 suggests economic weakness. Your 401k exposure to e-commerce and tech benefited Friday, but next week's Nvidia earnings will determine whether this bounce continues or reverses. If Nvidia beats big and raises guidance, the market could rally to 7,000. If it disappoints or sounds cautious, the defensive rotation that dominated early February could return hard. Markets reopen Monday morning. Watch for any executive orders or announcements about new tariffs over the weekend. Trump could act quickly, which would reverse Friday's gains. Nvidia reports after the close Wednesday, February 25th. This is the most important earnings report of the quarter. The stock needs to deliver explosive growth numbers and confident guidance to justify its valuation and pull the tech sector higher. Also watch for any Fed commentary about the GDP miss and sticky inflation. If they signal concern about slowing growth, rate cut expectations could build. And keep monitoring geopolitical tensions. Oil prices stayed elevated Friday on Iran concerns. This weekend pause gives everyone time to process Friday's chaos, but the market remains at a crossroads. The path to 7,000 runs through Nvidia's earnings report. That's it for today's Wallet Brief. Subscribe for daily updates on what's moving markets and your money.